Are there people you've worked with, organizations you've worked with in these different states that you think are just doing a great job in terms of that understanding of power and how to shift it? I love an example or two if you have them.
Yeah, I mean, many of the groups that we work with are groups that are doing multi-issue organizing, where they're based in a community in like a set of counties, maybe. So they're not even statewide; they're just based in, say, 5 counties in rural Arizona or rural North Carolina or rural Michigan, and um, and in those places, they are having deep conversations at the door with folks to find out the issues that they are interested in and identify leaders that way. And then find out like what is it that they care about? Is it in a lot of places it's not being able to afford housing, or the housing isn't safe to live in. It's high electricity costs. It's disproportionate rates of incarceration for the Latino or Black communities there. They figure out what the issues are, they find leaders, develop them up to campaign on those issues and build a base and get skills. And often those folks then go on to work for the organizations as staff. And then they figure out, well, what are the avenues to change the things that we care about? So they'll figure out a local ballot measure, or they'll enter into kind of a co-governance arrangement with their city council or their county commission, or they'll realize it's really the sheriff that's a problem. They'll work on recruiting somebody to run for sheriff. So they're figuring out the path to power, and then they run a campaign to whether it's an election campaign or whether it's an issue campaign, policy campaign, that usually takes years to run, that is very deep and involved in talking to every person in the community in all the channels that they can. And what we're trying to do at Rural Democracy Initiative is make sure that people have the resources that they need to win, because you need to get wins to build power, right? If you're always campaigning and you're never winning, it's hard to build and sustain that base. And so you have to pick something that is winnable. And we find, like, for example, rural electric co-ops are an incredible opportunity to win. Rural electric co-ops, most people don't know, but they provide electricity to most of rural America. And they're just a co-op. They're like your food co-op board, right? It's just a few people who are elected by a few people who are ratepayers, and they have enormous power to decide the electricity mix and the kind of economic opportunities for that whole area. And it's 95% of them are old white men who are in these positions, not representative of their communities and not kind of with the new energy economy. And if you get in there and organize, I mean, you're only talking about 1,000 people maybe voting who are ratepayers. You can win every rural electric co-op race that you get involved with. And they're nonpartisan too. They're actually so nonpartisan, you can run them with C3 charitable dollars. You can run those elections because it's just like a food co-op, right? It's not even a real election. And so people don't have to put a Democrat or Republican behind their name. So you're really voting for the person who's going to represent you and bring your idea forward. You can win those elections, and it has profound impacts on people's lives in terms of, like, they'll literally see the difference in their electricity bills, which is a huge concern for rural ratepayers. And also maybe changing their electricity mix to being cleaner so that people don't have to suffer from asthma or the air pollution that comes from the surrounding areas from the coal plants. So anyway, my point is, we try to think of, like, what can you do where you can win and make a difference that people can feel in their lives, and that's the way that they build up power and then go on to the next thing.